Hello, welcome to day 5. Um, Today I want to show you just a few more music specific databases and two other databases that are more general. So we are going to the library homepage. So from the Texas State homepage, you can click on library and this is it. And then we go to databases and we go to music. And here on this page, we went to Oxford Music Online before for Grove, and we went to RILM before. We worked with RILM. The next one I want to show you is actually the oldest database that existed, and it's called Music Index, or Music Index with full text. It was originally established in 1949. I believe, but this one, the full text edition here covers mainly 1970 through the present. That means secondary sources, basically in the last 50 years, roughly speaking. So for most of our research, of course, whenever we do research, we want to look at primary sources and secondary sources. We'll discuss later on how we actually find primary sources. But in these databases, we look for secondary sources, and we want to look for recent secondary sources. But it depends on the research object. So if we do a music history project, let's say an historical project on Mozart, then we could as well use a secondary source that was published 50 or 100 years ago. If we do a research on music cognition, music psychology, even music education, we do want to have more recent research. So we do need to pay attention to when the secondary source was published. So anyways, this is Music Index, and I should have first made you aware of what it says here. It provides comprehensive coverage and abstracts from more than 600 periodicals, over 170 of full text, on the music field and every aspect of classical and popular music, or popular worlds of music. Anyways, what is important here is periodicals. The Music Index database does not include any books or chapters in books, only articles published in periodicals, but many of them. But they're all music-specific journals. So that means if there would be the Journal of Education and somebody published an article on teaching music, it would not be indexed in Music Index or in RILM for that matter, because the journal itself is not music specific. So both RILM and Music Index, and we will see later also Music Periodicals Database, those three databases are music specific databases. That means if we're looking for journal articles, the entire journal must be a music journal. Otherwise, we will not find it indexed in those databases. Okay, so we are now searching in Music Index, and let's just say we are interested in the perception of rubato. Okay, there are not that many. So what do we have? Let's go into one of those. Effect of rubato magnitude on the perception of musicianship and musical performance. Here we have the author's name. We have the source, Journal of Research in Music Education. We have the year, the volume, the issue number. We don't really have inclusive page numbers, but we have the page number on which the article starts and how long the page is, how long the article is. So if we count up from 15 to 115, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 121, 122, 123. So the last page would be 123. If we were to list this article in our bibliography, we would say 115 through 123. Okay, so here we have an abstract. Here we have an ISSN, that stands for International Standard Serial Number. Each journal, each periodical has a standard number, an international standard number, and that means the same number will only refer to one particular journal. Now, some journals have several of these because they may exist in different formats. So they may exist as a print journal, and they have one ISSN as a print journal, and they may exist as an electronic journal, so they have a different ISSN. So sometimes you will find several, but you will definitely find this journal with this ISSN. Now, you don't list the ISSN in a bibliography, but for finding the journal, it is quite important. And if you were to order this article via interlibrary loan, you would need the ISSN to let the librarian know this is the journal in which it is found. Anyways, so document type is very important. As I pointed out yesterday, always pay attention to what document type is, although for almost everything in this database, they will be articles in periodicals. Now, if you wanted to get this article in full text, you actually have a link here to Jstor, and Jstor is one of the more general databases that I will tell you about also in this video just a little bit later today. But you could click on this, it will get you to Jstor. You're already logged in through the TextEstate subscription. You can hit download, you accept the terms and conditions, and download the article. And now I have this article downloaded on my computer. So looks easy, sometimes is easy, sometimes it's not so easy. I will go back now to Music Index. But in fact, I'm done with showing you what I wanted to show. You can use Boolean characters here again. I usually use the end, although if you just type several keywords here in succession, it also means it's an end. But you can also use not. So you want research on rubato, but it should not say the word magnitude. Pay attention to that. This article has magnitude in it. So if I would do this search, this particular article should not show up, and it didn't. It was excluded because I said not. I hardly ever use the not function. I usually only use the and function. Very often we have two general keywords, and we need to add more specific keywords to narrow our search. So usually the problem is that this number here of the number of articles found is too high. Then we have to narrow down by including a more specific keyword. Another strategy is also to find synonyms for our keywords. So instead of perception, we could say perceive, the verb. I misspelled it, so it actually auto-corrected it. So I could do that, but it didn't give me any search results. I could use psychology and rubato. Then I get 5 search results. So perception was actually a little bit better. Anyways, I want to go back to our library homepage, to our databases, to music, and want to introduce you to the third of the music-specific databases. And this is called, it's right underneath Music Index, called Music Periodicals Database. Um, this is actually a little broader in terms of the time frame. So here we have secondary literature that was published between 1874 to the present, but it covers scholarly and popular music journals covering all aspects of music. So this also covers journals, meaning periodicals, just like Music Index. This database is a little bit better with regard to popular culture and popular music. If you were to pursue research on popular music, this is a better database to search than RILM and Music Index. But generally, I recommend searching in all three of them. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's actually do the same search I did earlier. I did perception, rubato, just these two keywords. I hit search, and I think in Music Index we had 12. Here we have 15 search results. So here is actually the article that we found in Music Index. It's the same article. We can also access it in full text here. Let's see what this number 1 is. So again, we want to pay attention to the document type, or in this case, they call it, well, what they call document type here, they say research and analysis. That's more a specialization. Here in this particular database, they call it source type. It's a scholarly journal. Now, that means that this is an article published in a scholarly journal. So you have the title of the article. People mentioned this Mozart, but that is only relevant with regard to our research that we want to do on, and we can get an overview in this little abstract. In this case, it's just one sentence, right? But if this is what we would be interested in, then we want to get the title, we want to get the 2 authors, we want to get the journal title under publication title. So this is the journal Psychomusicology. We encountered this once before, volume 15, inclusive page numbers, year of publication. This is in the spring-fall issue. So this is sort of the issue, except it's not numbered, it just says spring-fall. So if you were to order it via interlibrary loan, where it says issue, you would say spring-fall. But you don't have to order this via interlibrary loan because we have access to it in full text. So we can click on this, and we can click on download PDF, and there we have this article, right? So anyways, you will do an assignment today to correct a wrong bibliography, and you will have to search in those 3 music-specific databases: RILM, Music Index, and Music Periodicals Database. But I also want you, if you don't find it for any reason, I want to make you aware of 2 other databases also listed in music, but those databases are not music specific. They are more general. One is called Jstor, Jstor. Where is it here? Jstor. And it is a full text archive of core academic journals in a wide variety of disciplines. So this is not music specific, but it does contain articles. It does contain music or articles published in music journals. But more importantly, earlier I had an example of where you might have a music article published in a more general journal. That means not in a music journal, like in a general education journal or in a philosophy journal or in a humanities journal. The Journal of Humanities publishes an article on the perception of rubato. And we would not find that article in a RILM or Music Index or Music Periodicals database because the journal is not music specific, but we would probably find it in Jstor, because Jstor would index those more general or journals from a variety of disciplines. So I would also suspect, I haven't tested it yet, but I would suspect that if I were doing this perception rubato search that I did in Music Index and in Music Periodicals database, we would find several more articles on this topic, because we will also find articles from medical journals, from general humanities journals, and so on. In fact, there are many, many more. Now, that doesn't mean that all of these are useful results. Now, one thing I just noticed here, that in recent years, Jstor also added book chapters. They're not that strong yet on book chapters, but they do include it. But they started out really with regard to journals, but they do have some book chapters. Let's actually look at one of the book chapters here. So I'm just randomly picking something. So, and it doesn't give me an abstract, it seems like. So I would actually have to read into the article in order to get an idea of this. But I will uncheck this now. I will go back to the 975 search results. Anyways, here's an article, for example, musicians, non-musicians, assessment of perceived rubato in musicians or musical performance. Is published in the Journal of Research in Music Education. This is probably, we also probably found this in Music Index, possibly in the RILM, possibly also in Music Periodicals database. So all of them have that. But if you go through, you see the name of the journal right here. Let's see if we actually find a journal title that is not music specific. Not among the first few here that I'm just scanning through. Computer Music Journal, that's music specific. Chicago Review. Chicago Review is not a music journal, not a music specific journal, but something in it can be music, and we would not find this particular article in any of the other three music specific databases, or a Music Index and Music Periodicals database, but we would find it in Jstor. So please search Jstor as well. Now, rubato is a music specific term, although I'm not so sure if the term rubato could also be used outside of music. But generally speaking, it would be very wise to include the keyword music in any searches that are in databases that are not music specific. And in fact, we dropped a few 60 or so articles that did not contain the keyword music. So if you are in a database that is not music specific, that is more general, like Jstor, please always include the keyword music in any of your searches. And finally, the last one I want to point out is, here's the music list, is called Project Muse. So this is also under the music list, the music databases. And if you scroll down to P, you find Project Muse. It says here it's full text, current and archival articles from 600 plus journals from major university presses and over 2,000 current ebooks. So this one also includes ebooks. In olden times, it only indexed journal articles. Subjects include literature, criticism, history, performing arts. So music is one of the performing arts, so it's included, but cultural studies, education, philosophy, and so on. So also for education for popular music studies. Project Muse is a very good database to search in. So let's do exactly the same search, perception, rubato, and since this is a non-music specific database, I will also include the keyword music. I hit enter, and now I have 106 search results. Now here's Computer Music Journal. Probably this article was in any of the other databases as well. Now this seems to be from an ebook. We probably wouldn't have found it in any of the other databases. So anyways, I introduced you to 5 different databases, setting aside the library catalog and WorldCat as a catalog of catalogs, but 5 indexes of secondary research in which we find articles in books, sometimes entire books, like in RILM, or in this case here in Project Muse, we find ebooks, but articles in books or chapters in books and articles in journals. So 3 music-specific databases, RILM, Music Index, and Music Periodicals Database, and 2 more general databases, Project Muse and Jstor. So please keep a mental note of it, or write down the names of those. Those are very, very important databases to search in all 5 of them if you want to pursue some research. Now about our homework, I will in the Canvas side, you will see a file called bibliography assignment as a Word file. You can download it. Then you will tell me here which style guide you want to use. I would use Chicago, so I would type Chicago here if you want to use APA style, or whichever style you're using, so that I know which style you're using. And the task is to make corrections to this bibliography. So all of these entries have problems, sometimes even question marks, but they have mistakes, and you will have to correct them. The strategy for correcting this is to find this article in one of those databases. Now, could you find it on Google? Probably. I've not tried this. But the question is how reliable Google is, and even if you find it on Google, you may want to double check the bibliographic information in one of those databases. So let me do a Google search, and in fact, one of the things I noticed here, did you mean Klaus Ernst Behne? Here the original, in the Word file, it had an E, Klausi. And if you look at here, you see now that happened to be one of the misprints. And here is die Benutzung von Musik, which seems to be like this. Now, this is in German. You don't have to speak German in order to search this. But this is now the bibliography page of a book in Google Books, and you have this bibliographic reference right here. Okay, now Google Books doesn't let you copy and paste. You will have to retype this, but you need to verify this bibliographic information in one of those databases. So I would actually not suggest doing a Google search first. I would suggest going to a music-specific database first, like RILM or Music Index or Music Periodicals Database. Try to either grab a name, an author name, and the title, or just the title, and try to find it in there, or just last names. Here, this article has two authors, so 2 last names. You can use Floor, Hodges, maybe brain research as a keyword, or brain research applied to music education as a string in quotation mark as the title. You can try to find it in any of those databases. If you don't find it in a database, it's maybe because something is misspelled. You may do a Google search to lead you in the right direction, but verify this information in a database. If you have an article in a book, or perhaps an entire book, please verify that information in WorldCat, because if you have an entire book, or even if you have an article in a book, a chapter in a book, the book information itself need to be verified in WorldCat, so you verify who the editors of that book are. Okay, so now I can tell you from past experience that usually I get solutions, or supposedly corrected solutions for assignments like these that still have lots of mistakes. And I will mark those mistakes, so please don't be discouraged. This is an exercise on purpose, because I actually see lots of publications every day that have lots of mistakes in the bibliography, and it is very important for any kind of research to get bibliographies right and to keep track of the secondary sources that we are using. So in the future, you will actually design your own research project and you will develop your own bibliography. But in this case today, you will make corrections to this bibliography, just a few items. Let's see how many. It's just 8 items you will have to correct. How long may it take? It may take an hour to do that, possibly even 2. So anyways, don't get too frustrated if you don't find something. Do a Google search, or simply move on and say, I couldn't find this, and I can give you a hint, or send me an email saying, yeah, I'm working on this Gambers article and I really can't find it, give me a hint, and I will email you back with a hint. Okay, and so you can do that before you submit your solution. Just send me an email, or if you think you're pretty close with all of your solutions, just email me your solutions and I will mark it, and you will have the possibility to make corrections. I may not have said this, I will send you an email about this too, but I did want to say that in my course, it's more project oriented, and you will always have the ability to make corrections if it wasn't perfect yet, to get the best possible grade. So you will always have an A as long as you're willing to make corrections to your corrections if necessary, and I will point you to the right direction. Okay, so this is the end of this video and the first week, in fact, of videos and assignments. Please remember those databases, their limitations, and I will see you next week or whenever you do it for day 6. Have a wonderful day and possibly weekend. Bye.